Hey everyone, welcome to See Joy and Expand podcast. And I wanted to come on here today and I just want to talk about journaling. For some reason, when I was going on my walk today, I felt like I need to talk about journaling and the importance of journaling. And before everybody falls asleep and me saying the word journaling, really, there's something cool about journaling that nobody has some people have tapped into, but they haven't said it in these particular words, I would say. And earlier this summer, started I started this program called The Artist Way, and it was the first time in my life I was able to really finish a program to from start to finish. And I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, the last few weeks, some of the things I didn't do, but the the big meat of it is morning pages or journaling or automatic writing or stream of consciousness. They're all the same thing. Those are all different words for the same thing. And I realize now the value of journaling and writing your thoughts on a piece of paper and early in the morning or whenever. Actually, I've done this writing process any time of the day, and it's given me some kind of that benefit with my logical brain space. And I was talking to a client the other day, and we were talking about hey, do you want to there's only one thing I recommend to my clients, because otherwise I go off the notion or the ideal or the belief. Actually, it is my belief that everybody's answers are within, and it's their answers. If you heard earlier pod episodes, I do say this, that everybody has their own unique answers to them, to their unique path, and it's special to them, whatever that answer is, whatever that action is. And when and I told him, but the only thing I do recommend if in my coaching process is journaling, some form of journaling, some form of putting thoughts somewhere else, somewhere outside of your head, and remove them out of your body in some shape or form. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I said it to him like this, think of your brain as a resource and something to manage, a resource and a tool that needs to be managed so that you can successfully move about your day. And when we're getting moments of overthinking, or if we have emotional states, we don't know up from down anymore. Say if you're angry or sad, depressed, etc. And I'm not saying it's not good to be in those feelings, be in those feelings if that feels like it is helpful for you to feel those things. And this is, if you listen to my last episode, I talk about how anger is useful if you choose a different perspective on how to engage with that feeling or energy inside. And how I described anger is this feeling that needs to be felt. And in this example, it's anger, and we feel it, and we know that it's there temporarily. And I view it as a sine wave. It builds. Sometimes it's a very high bell curve. I don't know if it's called a bell curve, but a curve that goes up. Or sometimes it's something that slowly builds over time and then peaks. And I'm just some use your imagination. If you're watching this live, you'll see me making hand gestures, but a curve that and then eventually it's not permanent. It goes, it wanes, if it drops, it flows away. So any emotions are like this. So back to journaling, the purpose and the value of journaling is, what if you're somebody who is going through all the overthinking, someone who is in the motions of day to day, you don't have clarity, there's so many thoughts running through your head, you don't know what to do yourself with yourself, and it's just so mentally tasking and exhausting. And that's where I found value in journaling. And I really, ideally, any movement practice for you is very helpful for moving those thoughts out of your brain. But what if you're a person who has been like acclimated to your movement? Say if you're, I have a friend and I talked to her the other day. She's helping me. I'm beta testing a new program on journaling so I can help people learn how to journal in a useful and constructive way. And she's one of my beta clients. And she does so many activities all the time. She moves her body all the time. And she still has a like a barrage of thoughts all day. It just never ends. And that's just how her mind has been performing. But does it have to be that way? Do you have to be an overthinker? And I want to say no. Like your brain, your mind is a tool when used in an efficient manner and viewed as a tool, you can achieve peace and clarity. Peace and clarity is for everyone. So, what do you do first? First, sit down, grab a piece of paper, and even if the thought of journaling sounds very challenging for you, um, you can't do it. Like you're like, you feel cringe. Take it a step back. If that feels uncomfortable, what is the smallest step that will to that point where you can start writing on a piece of paper? Because I used to be a person who hates journaling. Like I like I found it abhorrent. Like I I would whine and cry and say, like, but my hand hurts. Like, okay, what an excuse. But it really did. But come on. My past self. I'm like you're, you're witnessing my future self like, okay, why are you being a bitch? And my past self is whining like, but I am a bitch right now. I feel like a bitch right now. I don't want to do it. That's my hard-headed rebellious side coming up. But just okay, so first step. Let's go back to first steps before we get all confused here because my ADHD brain will go fucking all over the place. Um, if you've never done journaling, take a moment to sit down and like keep writing. Writing. Like don't even pause. It doesn't, don't make it make sense. What it's not going to make sense. And keep writing everything that enters your brain. And don't care about spelling, don't care about um like neat writing. Nobody gives like get it all the fuck out of your brain. Like it doesn't need to be there anymore. It's causing you a lot of confusion and um like confusion. And get it out of your brain and on paper. And like the first time you do it, sometimes you can get like easily 5 pages. Every time I've like there's just been a stint on like where I wouldn't journal, I didn't do it for a very long time. And I'm like, oh, my brain's feeling really full. Like I really need to get this. Like I feel like, like I can't move until I get all this. It feels like sometimes it feels like a pressure in my head, and it's really interesting sensation to feel like when you start tuning into your body more, if you want to. You'll notice that your brain feels a little full, and you're like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. At least that's how the sensation manifests in my body. So I'll sit down and I'm like, oh, I haven't journaled in a while. Let me purge all these thoughts out of my brain. So I'll write, and I usually get a good like 5 pages out, and then I'll feel like, oh, I feel clear and complete and peaceful, like my mind is peaceful again. And you may or may not. want to do this every day. The morning pages practice is something that's meant to be done every day. Um, I'm the go with the flow type of person, so I don't do it every day. But when I did do participate in the artist's way, it was an everyday practice. So I did write 3 pages a day, every single day. But now I'm coming back to writing again in the morning as my morning routine, just like I have a new set morning routine that I want to try out to see if that helps me be more focused every day. Like, wake up, my phone's not next to me, so I don't instantly scroll, and I do my morning routine. I like wash my face, I brush my teeth, I drink water, I make a cup of tea, and I start journaling for it takes about 20 minutes. And then, um, what do I do next? I'm drinking my tea, and then I read like 10 minutes, and then I do whatever for the rest of my day. And I've noticed every time I've done the morning pages practice, I tend to not be on social media as much. It's like a social media cleanse, which is fucking cool because we've all been in the wormhole of social media and you just get stuck on your phone for like hours on end. And I'm not saying that's bad. Um, but as a creator, as someone who wants to create something, someone who needs this time to create things, I think that time would be useful for creating things instead of being stuck on the phone. But thankfully, I have a lovely curated social media feed that actually feeds my brain, that I get a lot of information from that nurtures my soul. Like, I get really inspired and creative and excited. Like, I feel creativity. I get excited to do new things with my social media feed. It inspires thoughts in me. So if you haven't, if you don't have that experience with your social media feed, maybe it's time to start curating your social media feed. Start unfollowing people, start being cognizant of who your attention gets drawn to. And really, in the information age, attention is the real currency. So, um, sorry, I just got distracted by a message. Like, I see iMessages on my laptop while I'm recording, or whenever I'm on my laptop. And okay, I'm recording today on, and this is another thing I wanted to talk about, is on November 5th. I'm recording on election day. And if you guys are watching me, you can see my I voted sticker. And my cousin messaged me and she's like, Trump isn't gonna win, is he? And I wanted to get on here and also share my thoughts on that because as a spiritual girly and this world does not resonate with me. Like, I just wanted to share my viewpoint and my perspective, and take it with a grain of salt, take what resonates. And for me, I I believe, and with a little context and background, over the past year, it has shaped with the whole Palestinian conflict that's going on right now. It has shaped my viewpoint on politics, and I learned a lot of history about colonialism and even my ancestor story. And I believe in in the spiritual spaces I circle, especially, that a lot of the old ways of being are currently the systems that are currently in place are in the process of dying out. And if you've listened to other spiritual podcasts, they call it what do they call it? Um Late stage capitalism. I tried to Google the term, but I've never really found like concrete content or information on what that looks like. But the astrology does support such a like an idea, that um that the astrological placements that are happening right now is a cursor to the end of an empire. Ugh. And I'm not trying to be like fear mongering or anything. For me, I'm very much of like endings and beginnings are the same thing. A death of a thing is the beginning of another, and I'm actually really excited because for a long time, ever since I was a child, I was like, mainstream media and the news does not fucking make sense to me. It does not reflect my life. In fact, I think mainstream media is a tool for people in the powers that be to sway opinion and collective thinking. So, because it didn't resonate with me, I didn't watch the news and all that shit for a long time. Like just it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to my personal experience of my reality, how my life had unfolded, and and I know that people who do hold on to social media, it does speak to them. Not social media, but mainstream media. It does speak to the immigrant story. It speaks to people who, I don't know, whoever it resonates with. And I just want to say, I don't, and I put this as a Substack note earlier today, and I think the problem with bipartisan politics, it doesn't adequately represent um, multi-dimensional, not even dimensional, multifaceted human existence, the multifaceted human existence. And if you guys like know my work, I do quantum hypnosis. There's millions of facets of us, whether you believe it is a real, like, alternate lifetime or a figurative lifetime or like a metaphor. Is it real or metaphor? Whichever way you believe, it doesn't matter. It's none of my business. But know that if you do engage in my work, is it real or metaphor? The answer is your answer. For me, I think it's fun to believe it's true because why not? And and if for one day it ends up not being true, oh well, I had fun listening, like believing it was true, whatever. It's not a big fucking deal. Like my identity is not so attached to um something needing to be true. Like and I get it. Like I used to be that way. I used to be like, oh, this is true, and I was so right, like I had such a righteousness about being right about something, and I'm like, and being the good person, and that was actually to my detriment. I was so like confined within this box of thinking and operating that I actually ended up causing more harm than I intended, and I share that kind of harm in my last episode. If you guys listen to, um, I think it's episode 12 or 11, Angry Asian Female, and I tell a little bit background of uh, me raising my son. Ugh. So back to politics, I think the problem with the bipartisan system is people too overly identify with being Republican or Democrat, being a part of a party. And whenever I look at each party, I was like, this doesn't adequately like if I had to choose a party that resonated with me more, it'd probably be a Democrat, but a lot of the things in there doesn't resonate with me either. So, like, I hate politics. I will continue to not like politics. It has not served us in a way where we could all thrive. And so, that being said, that part is the whole identifying with something outside of you. But it's really cool because like a recent Substack came out that John made on Sunday Night Embers. We're a part of a group of writers sharing um, our stories moving from a traditional workspace to making a purposeful soul-aligned work. He wrote a piece on identity and how identity people identify with their jobs. Like, this is who they are. I am a firefighter, and this is who I am. I'm the identity of firefighter. Well, what if firefighters didn't exist? Or what if XYZ didn't exist? Then who are you? And I started reading, let's see, The Untethered Soul. That was the name of the book. I started reading that, and it was really interesting, the beginning parts of the book, because my manifesting generator asked and finished the whole thing. Like, I get through like one chapter, but I get what I need from it. And people will start with, well, they start with their job as an identity. And then I'm like, no, who are you? Like, this is something outside of you. Then, like, who really are you? And then it'll go further in. Like, I'm botching this, of course, like, obviously, but I'm gonna try and explain this as best as I can. But, um, and it goes further. I'm like, well, I'm this person with a set of experiences at age this, age that, age whatever. I did X, Y, and Z thing, this, there, and there. I had these accomplishments. I got married, I got a house, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's something outside of you. If these things are outside of you, like, who are you? Like, you, who are you inside of you? Who's the person inside? Because you can't be something that is outside of you, is basically what it's saying. So if you're not your experience, then who are you? And then you'll like, well, I'm Christian, or I'm a woman, and et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, and it keeps going deeper in that. And like, who is that? Who are you on like, and I think it goes deeper into who are you on a soul level. And I this is where my ADHD brain ties things together. So we started with journaling, and now we're at identity. And when you get to the point where you've journaled so much that your brain is so empty, so clear of overthinking, of all the incessant thoughts that just won't fucking stop, and it's quiet in your brain, who are you? Who are you if not those thoughts? And that's what happens after you clear out all the clutter of and all those thoughts come from external things. We're always bombarded by external stimuli, and it causes all these crazy thoughts, and or like this unending barrage of thoughts in our brain. And you have a quiet mind, and then all of a sudden you have these like thoughts or things you just know inside of you, and you're like, maybe I'll do this today. Hmm, this sounds nice. Maybe that feels like a nice thing to do today, instead of, oh, the to-do list of things that you would wake up with. And that space where you're underneath that layer of overthinking, and you're in that clear, quiet mind. That's my friend would call it the capital S self. For me, it's like your higher self, your soul self. And that all those layers of thoughts come from all these identities from outside of you, all these external things that you identify as you, but they're outside of you. So how can they be you? So who are you as the soul self, as the higher self, as the capital S self. Who is that? I'm like, is that a person? Do we even call it a person? This thing? This energy? This soul? This being? Like, I don't even, I like to say higher self. That's the word that I resonate with, but choose whatever word resonates with you. So, what if you, when you get to that place in that quiet mind, what would it say? What would it have to share with you? What what would be the value of knowing that part of you? And not a lot of people know that part of themselves, that quiet part of themselves. Because, first of all, nobody's ever been shown or taught. At least most people. I know there are people out there in the world that know this side of them, but most people don't know. Like, I think there was a statistic that someone shared with me once that like only like 20% of the population, the world's population, actually know how to listen. So if you're not listening, then are you, what are you doing when you're listening? What are you, if you're not listening, are you being present with the other person? And this quiet space inside, would that be the listening person? Would that be the observer who can check out the external world and take and like really like engage with it and be curious with it? Like, this is a space where curiosity happens, openness, expanded thoughts, expansion, and yeah, what would be shared with you in this space? And and that's why I'm like coming up with this program right now. I'm in like um what is the word? My ADHD brain like forgets words all the time. Um, I'm in the experimentation process. Ooh, when you're in the quiet space, you're also open to experimenting, not needing it to be a certain thing, but open to how it wants to be, how it wants to come through. You're in the flow state. Yeah, the flow state. Have you ever been in the flow state? Do you know what the flow state is? This is a space where you can access the flow state. And actually, and it's similar to meditation, but flow state's a little bit different because you're taking action, you're doing things in the flow state. So it's like the flow state. I feel like meditation is, or the flow state is meditation in action. That's how it feels like to me when I'm like thinking about it and feeling into it. So, what would that look like? And journaling is one. You can, once you get through that barrage of thoughts, you get to a part where you're just flowing and like really nice, clear thoughts come through when you're doing your clear journaling and engaging with the quiet, the quiet inner you. And other flow states are like when you're being creative, like making art or and it's usually really monotonous things that we don't want to do. And I've gotten to the point where I actually enjoy monotonous things because I get to access flow states. I get my greatest ideas when I'm doing boring as fuck things. Like, because you're in flow, you're doing something, you're usually doing something. It's not even has to be creativity. You can access flow states and things um that you it's something that's like almost robotic. Like, you know how to do this like with your eyes closed. So like, say you're washing your car and you're just like cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. It's repetitive action. And whenever I do repetitive action, I have like the most inspiration and like in my quiet mind doing these things because I'm moving, I'm taking action. I'm moving my body in a repetitive way. So usually it's like washing the dishes for me. Um, Sometimes I feel the flow state when I take a shower too, because I have like a certain routine with how to wash my body, top to bottom. If you do bottom to top, message me because I'm curious how that looks. Um, and can I recommend that you do top to bottom, please? Oh my God. So, yeah. And I'm gonna extend this invitation out to anybody who's interested because I have a, like 3 people right now that I'm experimenting with because I'm creating a program. I'm very much in the frame of thought with my business, with my services, with my offerings is to create something that is accessible, accessibility in mind, because it's not right that I don't even like those words, but it it's it's like gatekeeping when you need a lot of monetary resources to access um like different services that everybody could benefit from. Like how great would the world be if they could have access to really good therapy or really good coaching. Like the world would be such a better place. Like and and not that I'm excuse me, I burped. Not that I'm downing medication. There's nothing wrong with medications if that's your answer, if that helps you. But I'm a person who doesn't resonate with medication. Like I could probably use medication to figure out like to add focus in my day. Um, but I've never resonated with using meds. And instead, what did I have to do? I had to build skills instead to work with how my brain operates. So, so if anybody does need a life coach who has ADHD and needs help with how to engage in their lives unmedicated, I could be your life coach probably, maybe. But that being said, um, I think am I fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Um, so if anybody's interested in being like my beta guinea pig, it's very low cost fee because you're helping me figure out how I want to design this program that's affordable and then it's still coming together. I don't know how I want it to look like, but do want to be able to help people build the skill of journaling and how to engage with their brain, know what actions to take for themselves so that they can engage in their brain as a tool. Like, I'm in the overthinking, journal a lot, purge it, take it all out. Or what if journaling's not your answer and your first step to journaling is something else? Because I didn't like writing in the beginning. I started with typing, or there are times when I didn't like typing, so I would do voice notes instead. I had to take other steps that didn't look like journaling to get me to the point where I journal with ease. And it's completely possible. And there's nothing wrong with you if you don't like journaling. But if you want to learn how to journal, you can learn how to do that. So if you want to be my guinea pig, just email me. I'm going to put my email in the show notes. And thank you for considering me and being open to the process. Um, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah, today's going to be really interesting. It's 5:25 p.m. right now, PST, and I think by 7 o'clock, a lot of the votes will be counted, but I don't know if that um, takes into account the mail-in ballots, so it might take a hot minute. But a lot of people, and I'm coming from a spiritual lens, take what resonates always. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to believe ever. But a lot of people there's a lot of people that have a lot of anxiety about what's going on, like, really fear that Trump is gonna be in office again. I remember I remember where I was when Trump was the day he got elected. I was at work, it was night shift, when I was a nurse, and we in between, like, watching we would wa I mean, we would be in our patients' I worked in ICU, so the patients weren't watching TV, but we would have the election ones on in every fucking room. Even if they were people that could watch TV, they were watching it too. All night long, we were watching everything being counted. And I remember once it was finalized, before our shift was over, in the middle of the night while most of the world was sleeping, like, the nation, I remember people being like, I'm gonna fucking jump out of this window right now. And this is when I worked in DC, and the demographic of the DC and the surrounding area has the largest demographic of middle income, middle class African Americans in the country. And I remember taking the train home, and the air was so thick, and everyone was silent. And I think some people might be having a little PTSD from that. I totally get it. Um, like, I remember that. I remember when that happened. I remember everybody I talked to that were like my age or around my age, millennials, and they're like, I can't believe that happened. And I had some people say, I honestly didn't vote because I didn't think anybody was going to vote for that asshat. And now I'm pretty sure we're all voting now after that experience. So, just in case anybody's listening to this in the future, it's Trump versus Kamala. And a lot of people there's like general unrest or uneasiness or anxiety about the whole experience. And for me, I see the system doesn't work for us anyways. Um, and we're at, it feels like, if this feels true to me, we're at late stage capitalism, the end, the end of the patriarchy. Um, Whatever happens next, I'm finally in this like full surrender mode about it. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. Like, depending on who is up, one will be a tougher fight than the other, and you'll know who I'm talking about. And for certain people, like, I don't, you might like Trump. I don't know. If you like Trump, I'm wondering why are you listening to this podcast? But only because, like, this is my stuff is so like um not mainstream that it would be very interesting if you do like Trump. And I would like to meet you. I would love to talk to somebody who would listen to this and vote for Trump at the same time. That would be very fascinating to me to have that conversation. Like, I want to know what you were thinking. What did you, for me, I'm very much based on my life coaching background and my quantum hypnosis practitioner background, is that um there is many viewpoints, perspectives, and truths as there are people in the world. And for whatever reason, you were led to the conclusion that this is the right answer. And I believe that. I believe that's true for you for whatever reason. Like, I believe that if I were in your shoes with your lived experiences and your demographic and your identity, et cetera, I probably would vote the same thing too. Like, something led you to that conclusion and you're operating from a place where this is true for you. So I honor that. I honor that truth. I honor that this is the reality for some people, that Trump is the one that needs to be in office. And I don't like Kamala either. If you guys watch my Instagram stories, I didn't vote for either of them. Didn't like any of them after what's been happening because I've been knee deep in like and um, listening to Palestinian content creators, and there suppressed the oppressed story is never shared in US history or, I mean, colonial history ever. Nobody talks about their story, and that's where my people come from. So it was very important for me to listen to their story because in a different light and lens, it's the same story, just more in modern day terms. They're going through everything my ancestors went through. So it was very important for me for my ancestral healing of this year. I've been experiencing ancestral healing this year to listen to their story and know that it's true what they're experiencing. And they didn't ask for this, they didn't ask to be born in these conditions. So that being said, if you guys want more ancestor related activations, I'm going to say activations, this really cool show on PBS here in the States, I think, actually, no, I know that I connected with somebody who lives in Toronto and they watched the show too. So wherever this streams from whatever country you're from, watch Finding Your Roots. It's so insightful for the our history, our list ancestor history, the path of where we came from, because unless you were from a royal family or a rich lineage, your lineage was not documented. So it was very eye-opening to watch famous people uncover their history in each episode, and the reactions for each person, um, learning about their past, their family history, and their past was just very eye-opening. Like I said, activating. It like inspired something in me. If I don't know, I don't even know how to explain what activation means. Like, it unlocks something in me that was like a different perspective, um, a different knowing, a different energy inside of me. Like, wow. So, Finding Your Roots, PBS, it's amazing. It's so much fun. Um, Sorry, I burped again. I guess I have a lot to release. I keep burping on this episode. Um, yes, so awesome episode. And like I said, if anybody's interested in helping me like build or figure out my journaling program that I'm creating, be my guinea pig, email me on the email will be I finally, if you listen to my last episode, I was like, I didn't know, I didn't realize I didn't have an email for my podcast. So I made a new email for the podcast. So you can just email me, shoot me a message. And also, anybody, if you found value in this podcast and if you want to help me reach a wider audience, um, like this podcast, share it with other people, follow it so that you can keep getting new episodes. And so I guess there's an algorithm for Spotify too. Like, I don't know. I don't know these things. But apparently these things help people, help podcasts reach an audience. I'm such a boomer. Anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely uh, week, day, and stay safe out there. I know everybody is not privileged to live in a safe community like I do, so, and I know a lot of people are going to be up in arms with I feel like a lot of people are going to be up in arms in different communities or across the nation about the election results. So take care, everybody, and thank you for listening. Bye.